Our final panel today is from 3 volunteers without whom the task force would not function, or at least not function as well as it does. Liana Dugaro is an SEP from Italy. Many of you already know her as our Linguistic Affairs Coordinator. Claudia Villagra is an SEP from Bolivia who has faithfully held space and the vision for our Resilience Connection meetings that happen every Tuesday, Claudia. And Katerina Vashtalova, who has been interpreting with us since Maxim introduced us to her in April. She is an incredible organizer, to be honest. And so every Ukrainian that is here with us today, I think Katerina has invited, or maybe some of them have invited others, but she's touched in some way. You're doing an amazing job connecting SE resources with the Ukrainian community. She's an SE student in Rachi's training, and it's been such a privilege to meet you and to be working with all 3 of you this year. They're going to be sharing their reflections from the various efforts that they've been a part of this year. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Melissa. We would like to make it a little bit resilient connection style. So I will ask Isadora that spotlight again the fire, the campfire. So let's just take some moment to get attuned a little bit to this transition. We have been hearing a lot of things. I by myself resonate very much with many things. I had also had some things moving, some tears coming out. So just take some time while you're enjoying this campfire to wiggle your toes and maybe rearrange on your chair. The next 25 minutes to 30 minutes, you're going to hear a bit more about the work we have been doing. So when Melissa shared with me the idea about the fire camp, I had also this image of all of us sitting around the campfire, exchanging experiences, feelings, thoughts, looking at this campfire as a joint effort of supporting Ukraine. So today we want to share with you our story, our efforts, the contribution to this campfire, our sparks, and activities to keep it lighting. So, as Melissa already told you, I'm Claudia Villagra, and together with Liana Dugaro and Katerina Vashtalova, we're going to share our experience around translation, the translation work and resilient connection. During the whole time we're going to be sharing with you our experience, we will encourage you to share what emerged from you, to use the chat, so that we have a sense about what's happening with you, what's moving. So we want to be in contact with you. So I would like myself to introduce Liana. I need to say that I feel very honored. Yeah. You make me cry. I'm very thankful, Liana. You were somehow a faithful companion during many meetings. Thank you so much for that, for showing up, sometimes with people, sometimes just the 2 of us, but always with the intention to support somehow our Ukraine friends. So I want to say a couple of facts that you may know or you may not know about Liana. We have been hearing a lot about the scope. Scope was translated in over 30 languages, most of which were possible thanks to the work of Liana. No, Liana's work as a volunteer translator coordinator. No, beyond that, Liana also coordinates the translation of other materials that are part of our resource hub. So just take some time to feel this. There have been more than 60,500 written words translated into 33 different languages. No. There have been more than 150 volunteers involved in translation those words. And behind this is Liana. So, Liana, tell me, I'm curious to know, how did you find your way to the task force and what was your inspiration?
Thank you, Claudia. And you know, on February 24th, I freezed. And on February 25th, I start asking myself, how can I help? Who can I help? And then how can I help now and from where I am? And on March 2nd, I got inspired by a Facebook post from Ariel Jarretto on the SEPs around the world Facebook group. And she was inviting SEPs to assist at a free webinar she was about to offer through the SE Hungary. And as a first aid for people working with victims and refugees. And after Ariel's webinar, which reached nearly 900 people, us SEPs volunteers were invited to join the task force, the SE UTF task force, and their meetings, and to help them organizing further initiatives. So simply, I'm keen on filling the gaps and creating procedures because of my previous experience. So I offer my help just where it was needed the most. And at that time, it was grouping the 250 volunteers by languages. And then the first task came from SE International, and they were asking to review 17 draft translations of the scope flyer, the famous scope flyer, into Ukrainian and Russian and other 15 languages. And so I followed my impulse to fill the next gap and drafted a letter to approach the volunteers. And then there was another gap, and I was invited to write to the volunteers directly because there was no other people, like no many people were there. And that is how the whole translation project started. So I streamlined the translation procedure. I started interacting with volunteers as a group, as individuals. And then I followed, again, my impulse to fill the gaps. And I was looking for the missing languages in Europe and above. So now Scope is available in 33 languages, including Turkish and Arabic, which unfortunately are going to be very useful now. And you know, Claudia, our motto at SEUTF translation team, since we began, it was this: word by word, we make this world a safer and more regulated place. So I'm happy to share that with you. Along the way, I realized how important it is to feel seen, connected, and in relationship with others, for both who needs help and for the volunteers themselves, who give for free their competence, energy, time, motivation. So I started holding meetings with translation volunteers once a week and then twice a week to be as inclusive as possible. However, there were not so many people showing up, and sometimes nobody was there except me. So that gap was too big for me to fill. And it became kind of frustrating quite soon. So then I started joining the weekly gatherings with you and Resilience Connection. And quite soon I became, as you know, a regular participant there. So to support you, Claudia, in holding that space and to help you fill the gap there.
Thank
So
you.
I'm happy to introduce you now and your valuable contribution to the task force. So I want to share facts about Resilience Connection. Resilience Connection gatherings were are held each Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central European Time with the same Zoom link, who is available on the EU's website. And so far, 42 Resilience Connection Tuesdays were held. And Claudia was always there.
Almost.
And, almost always there. And those were held in 4 languages. So further than English, that was Spanish, Ukrainian, and German. So now it's my turn to ask you, Claudia, how did you find your way to the Somatic Experiencing Ukraine Task Force? And what was your inspiration?
Thank you, Liana. It is still reverberating a little bit something that you say, word by word, making the world a safer place. No, it's very beautiful. Yeah. And I think with Resilient Connections, we try to offer that space for words, no, for silence also. So, but to respond to your question, the first thing I remember was feeling my heartache as I heard the news about the start of the outreach of the situation in the Ukraine. No, then reading the call for volunteers from the Somatic Experience Ukraine Task Force, filling the formula, being invited to a meeting, and at the beginning of my was our kickoff. The first Resilient Connection was starting. The first meeting, or the first ones with Danica Lynch was together with me. No, it was a great experience. I think it's a little bit for me. If you notice the things I told you, the things happened very quick and one after the other. It feels a little bit for me like faith. Everything flowed effortlessly, but with intention. So I think one of the things I liked it when they were, let's say, looking for people about organizing the task we were planning to do. What called me to do this, it was the name Resilient Connection. You know, I think the name Resilient Connection inspired me. When I first the name Resilient Connection, it resonated so much with me that I said, yeah, okay, I want to go. I don't understand very well what's going on, so what's behind it, but I want to do it. So, and really, I didn't know what it meant. No, I think it went beyond language. No, my language barrier. I mean, as I had the experience to be part of these gatherings, I started grasping a little bit more about the meaning of these 2 words together. But each time was different. It feels like something organic that I can name it, but not fully describe it. So during this time, we had participants from at least 20 different countries of the world with different backgrounds, different interests. So we talk about a diversity of topics, such as the consequences of war, transgenerational trauma, feeling grief, no, femininity, hobbies as resources, self-care, being a migrant, crisis stabilization, and many more, so that you have an idea what was going on each Tuesday during this 1.5 hours. So we sang together. We cried together, laughed together, we played together, no? We're curious together to get to know each other. And we also moved together. And what it was most impressive for me, it was that we could share silence together. So one thing I know for sure, that it's that each meeting is very different from the other. We do not know what the participants are going to bring. However, every time is very special. Like yesterday, for example, February the 14th, no? As we had 103 participants, you know, from experiencing no participants to 103 participants is like, wow. And it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful space. So the resilient connection gatherings from our Ukraine friends now are taking place every second week. So, but I want to use these words to introduce someone, to let Katarina let us know how she find her way and what was her inspiration. Mm-hmm. So the Resilient Connection gatherings, every second week, we are having the Ukraine friends as participants. They have also, just take a moment to hear that, a newsletter, 65 subscribers, a Telegram group with 243 members, a practice group. So when we don't meet, anyways, they meet the next Tuesdays. And behind all of this is Katarina, the person you had already met as a translator. So tell me, Katarina, I'm curious. I would like to hear your story.
Thank you so much. I'm deeply moved, and I'm very grateful for being part of this community, which really supported me all the way through, starting from February the 24th and until this magic moment when we are sharing this space together. And I would love to start with my story and then step by step show how I could discover SEUTF for myself. So I crossed Ukrainian border when the spring started on March the 1st. And I have goosebumps because what I really, really remember is how much support I got during my way in Ukraine. And also when I crossed the border, and how much love and hugs and all the support people were showing. And I know that many of you had Ukrainian families hosting in your houses or providing different types of volunteering help. And I have a little symbol of this because it's a scarf which was handmade by a Spanish woman, and she gave it to me. Yes, and I'm in Spain now as a refugee, and like this jacket was also a present, you know, from people supporting us. And these small details and also other types of support were very important for me. And actually, this was what inspired me to also become a volunteer. So I just provided help to other Ukrainians who had to flee from their homes, just helping with some organizational information, like where to find support, like how to find it. And actually, this is very important when we can provide information. And now, actually, we are also doing this. We are spreading the word about SE projects and let people know about the opportunities they have. So like Maxim mentioned, first days they are busy with taking care about your survival and adapting in a new environment. But 40 days after that, it was my birthday, April 18, and I got a message from Maxim Usoltsev. You saw his presentation before, and he told me, Katya, like you have like more than 10 years experience in conference interpreting in the field of psychology and therapy. And you're also a somatic therapist. Like, why don't you join some volunteering projects as an interpreter and a facilitator? And this is how I joined his team. So later, Maxim cooperated with Imke, who also was a key speaker today. And this is how the study program was launched in Poland. And I was very, very lucky and grateful to join this initiative as a student. And in summer, we had our first introductory course. And in autumn, there was a first trip to Poland where I could also meet my friends and my colleagues. And that was also very, very supportive. And that was also the time when I started to give supporting classes, like lead a support group for Ukrainians who stayed in Ukraine. And in October, there were like massive shelling and the situation was getting worse. And it was very important to provide this help. And it was, again, possible due to this SE project. And also, that was the time when I met Melissa, and she invited me to interpret webinars and also to coordinate a team of interpreters. Again, to make this work more available and known, yes, to invite Ukrainian participants and especially Ukrainian helpers, psychotherapists, trauma therapists, first responders. And I was really touched by the feedbacks of people and by how much this work affected them, supported them, and also people they work with. And when the winter came, I decided to join a Tuesday meeting, and there was Liana there unexpectedly, and I met her before in Poland as she is one of the teaching assistants there. And we had a very warm-hearted conversation. She told me about the space. And at the same time, almost like the same day, I got a call from Olesya Verman, who is representative for Ukrainian psychologist communities, especially working with children and with trauma. And Olesya told me, we really, really need some, support. We need tools. We need care. And Katya, are there any possibilities for us? And, it was this magic moment when I realized there should be a bridge, like connecting this beautiful space and initiative and people who are really, really in need of that. So this is how I became not only an interpreter and facilitator, but also like a communication coordinator. And I was really touched that there was so much interest and so much gratitude, because as Claudia mentioned, now we have 655 people in the mailing list. Wow. And each time, even though there were blackouts and all the difficult conditions in Ukraine, they joined the meetings, like 100 of them or 50 or 60. And also each time they filled in the form giving feedback, and it was like so full of gratitude. And they really appreciated that SE facilitators shared practical tools. And one story was especially touching, which shows how far our volunteering work travels. Because one of the psychologists working in Kyiv region with volunteers held a support group for them and shared some simple tools that she learned when she joined Tuesday meetings with Irene Vitalich, with Liana Pinto, with Claudia, with Liana. And she told me that later she got feedback from them as they went to the cities that were occupied near Kyiv. And the volunteers also shared these tools with local people. And local people really benefited from them. Simple exercises, using your hands, like touching your face, simple like somatic exercises that were very, very effective and supportive. And when I think of this, I feel like really, really touched. And I know that as the spring comes and it's a new step waiting for us, I really, really dream that we have an opportunity to continue supporting Ukrainians and Ukrainian helpers in this way. Because can you imagine, like each person coming, a psychologist, a helper, will spread this word, will spread this practice with many, 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 many other people. And that's really incredible. And I really, really dream that we can go on doing this work. Thank you so much.
I think, Katarina, many of us share your dream about continuing this campfire burning. But I think Melissa is waiting for us. Melissa, can I make a question to the crowd, if it's possible?
Yes, and can I tell you why?
Yeah, tell me.
We can go over just a couple of minutes because we have just
Great.
received word that a very special person would like to join us at the top of the
Wow.
hour.
Great,
So
great.
Peter
So my-
Peter
Woohoo!
Levine will be coming at the top of the hour. This is how special and important the work that all of you are doing out there for everyone who feels isolated or like you're working in isolation, the community doesn't see you or whatever. I just want you to know that we see you, we see the work you're doing and desperately want to come together as we can to support.
Melissa, may I share something? I just forgot something very, very important.
Please.
Look. Remember, Rachi spoke about toys.
Wow.
So, it's a parrot from our program, and it has Ukrainian flag, and it's my resource. So I'm very, very grateful for it as well. It travels with me. Thank you.
And Katerina, I recall that every time you were coming for translating a session, you had your friend with you.
Yeah.
in Poland.
Yeah,
Nice
so
to see you, Guy.
thank you.
Claudia, please go ahead. We have just a couple extra minutes now.
Yes. So for everybody, so with everything you have heard from us, from Resilient Connection, what does Resilient Connection mean to you? No, yeah. And I hope you can share those your words in the chat.
Like in one or
Right.
just a couple of words.
Yeah. Please feel free to use the chat community. Mm-hmm.
Up above, I see daisy chain of support. I like that.
Being human, safety. Support, understanding each other from heart to heart, together. Acceptance, radical connections, resonance, being carried, important pillar of health, radical connections. The place for emotions and feelings. Wow, strengthening each other. Gratitude and heart openness. Wow, and just let these words resonate. Love. So, Katerina, I cannot read that one.
It says support and uniting to help Ukrainians.
Thank you. Collective care. Feeling whole.
Belonging. Irena, thank you. You are part of this. Irena Vitalic, part of Resilience Connection with us.
Melissa, with that said, I leave you the floor for you.
Thank you, dear ones. Thank you. As you can see today, the work that we have been doing is not ending, it's just begun. We came together 11 months ago to support our friends, to support people in Ukraine we hadn't met yet, and to support one another as refugees were coming across Europe through communities where many SCPs are living. We now see that the work we've been doing isn't just needed in Ukraine. The whole world needs this type of work. I don't know how we'll organize it. We have some ideas, but we need each of you whose heart is touched to find your space in the community and to become part of whatever this is that we've started. Because today is not the end. This month is not the end. As you heard, I've been on part-time staff with SEI for the last year in a coordination role, and the funding for that position is ending this month, and that's okay. I feel very strongly like what we've started has just begun, and that this is an important step in the evolution that we all have been on together. And everyone on the screen here is committed to continuing. So Claudia.
І все це ми зробили разом.
Oh, Alexandra came back to the main room somehow. And now it's okay.
Maybe because it's time to change interpreters. Katerina is translating.
Okay.
They just switched.
Okay. Are you good now? Thank you. And we can end the spotlights too, Isa. So we are continuing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Liana. Thank you, Katerina. Everyone who just left the screen has already committed to continue this work through the new SE Humanitarian Committee. So Liana will continue, bless you, dear one, to coordinate all of these volunteers. We have discovered that one of the fastest ways that we connect with new volunteers is through interpretation projects, because people from all around the world, it's an easy way to connect and to begin to get to know us, to build relationships, and then other work can flow from there. So Liana will continue to serve as the Linguistic Affairs Coordinator for the new committee. And if you see things on the SEUTF website, which is going to remain in place, we'll just change the name to SE Humanitarian Committee. Zlata, maybe you can put in the chat the link to our website. We have 28 resources that have been gathered thus far. More are coming constantly. Liana has been such an angel in helping to coordinate the translation of those resources. And please don't go off on your own and do it in isolation. Let her know so that she can help support you with best practices and everything. Claudia has already committed to continuing the Resilience Connection meetings each Tuesday. And those, as she said, they grow organically each week. We don't know where this is going. She has held space for a vision that is so deep in her heart. And I'm so grateful that you stayed with the vision, even on weeks when one person came or no people came. It's become such a beautiful space. And for everyone who is interested maybe in setting up a Resilience Connection regular meeting for your specific community, I know Defna has left, but they're planning to set one up for SCPs in Turkey to be able to gather once a week, once every 2 weeks, to just co-regulate together. Claudia has offered her support with best practices to help get that going, and she can help you start a Resilience Connection type meeting for whatever your community might be. And our beautiful Katerina, who's back in her translation chair, will continue to reach out to Ukrainians with these resources to organize and to bring SE to the Ukrainian community and to partner with others who are doing this. So our work will continue. That's my big long thing, is to inspire, to encourage you the work will continue. I would like to hand the floor to the new interim executive director of SEI. She, I think, officially starts next week, but it's let's spotlight Rebecca. Rebecca, thank you so much for so many things, but Rebecca has been serving as the co-chair of the task force for the last 6-7 months, and has held in her heart the vision for this type of work for the SE community globally, and specifically for the work that we've been doing with Ukraine, and now the work that will expand to Turkey and to other places in the world. So you have held in your heart the vision that we have all been a part of helping to bring to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. And there's no way I'm getting through this without crying. I just want to say thank you to everyone here for being a part of this. I was at those first meetings last year, and all we knew was that we wanted to do something, and most importantly, we wanted to do it together. And more than anything, and I think Melissa has said this, but if we have learned anything over the past year, it's that when we work together, we do incredible things. And so for so many of us, one of the most amazing pieces of this task force, soon to be committee, is that it's a combined effort, and it's been co-chaired by somebody from EASE and somebody from SEI from the beginning. Our hope is that with the committee, we'll have people from around the world, right? This, in some ways, is the best of what SE is and can be in the world. And so I am so grateful to everyone who has been a big part of this. To all of you who showed up today, right? It's a long day. It might be late where you are. So if it's late where you are, thank you for still being here. You can see it's not late where I am. It's still the middle of the day. To all of the speakers today, you touched all of us. I've learned pieces of what you've been doing that I didn't know and that has been happening. Claudia and Liana, thank you so much for your consistency throughout this whole process. Getting to know the two of you has been maybe my favorite part of the last year and being part of this task force. And I have to say this, the Resilience Connection in some capacity has been a dream of mine long before we had the task force. Ooh, I just got very big. And you brought it to life in the most beautiful way possible, Claudia. And I am just in awe of how you have held it, and the way it has grown and the way it has connected people. And as we saw in the chat, brought people safety, brought people connection, brought people heart, all of the things that we know as SEPs are vital to the work we do. Liana, none of this work can happen if we don't understand it. And as somebody who is incredibly privileged to speak as my first language, the language that now is spoken in so much of the world, I also know how important it is that we make sure that things are in other languages. I've lived in countries where I don't speak the language as my first language and had to be in spaces where it's scary, right? But more importantly, when we don't know what's going on, we get scared, right? We don't have that sense of safety. So language and connection and communication are vital to this process. And there's no way to do it without translation and interpretation. So one of my biggest awes of this whole process has been the language translation and interpretation. Our webinars that are in 10 languages, the last one is so incredible and something I never even dreamed possible. And I want to thank Katie from SEI who helped set that up. She is actually here. I don't know if she still can see, but she's the one who behind the scenes is making sure that the language channels work in all of those webinars. And so our hope is that although we probably can't do monthly webinars going forward, that we can still continue to offer a couple a year where we can have language channels continue the interpretation and make sure that everybody has access to this work in whatever way they have the capacity to do it. I want to thank Zlata and Defna, who's co-chaired this committee from the beginning. Zlata, you have continued, and Defna, I don't know if you're still here. The work you both did, I got to just sort of watch for many, many months and see the incredible way that you brought people together. You're an inspiration to me every day, both of you. And I think you are an inspiration to every single person here. And I hope you are, because I hope everybody gets to know how amazing you are and how much heart and care and collaboration that you have both brought. You started something that was but a vision for folks and became something that changed lives, and that is incredible. Isa and Melissa. Isa, you came to us only a few months ago, and you have been an incredible friend, an incredible collaborator, and brought together in ways that I just dreamed I had no idea were possible. I'm going to miss you, but as I've told both of you, you don't really leave. We just collect friends and family around here, so we will find ways for them to remain engaged for sure. Isa, we wish you all the best back in school. For those of you who don't know, she is a student attending school in Australia, which is amazing, and going back to Australia in a couple days. That's a long flight from Europe. And finally, Melissa, this is where I'm gonna cry. I am so grateful for what you have brought, the way you brought us all together, that you kept us organized in ways that some of us were not as organized. Me, when I say some of us, I mean me. And that you kept us on task, that you brought all of your history to us. None of us had done this kind of work in the capacity that you had, and you helped make it make sense in ways that nobody else really did. And I'm so grateful for all that you have brought, for the way that you took what you've always known and said, how can we make it SE when SE wasn't part of your life before this? And it's so beautiful to watch. I'm always in awe of people who come into this world and then just kind of sponge-like take in the SE world, and you did just that. And I'm so grateful. And I know that we're not entirely losing you, I hope, but I do know that that the funding has run out, and we can put the funding thing back in there. If we get enough donations, we'll find a way to keep Melissa if we can. And then finally, this moving forward, and Melissa, you outlined it so well. We do have an application to be a part of this committee moving forward. It will start as a collaboration between EASE and SEI. And we hope that it will have members from around the globe. We know that causes issues for time zones, but that is the only downside. And the Global Culture Committee at SEI has figured out how to navigate that, and we will as well, right? It will take approximately, a meeting a month, time in between with emails and connection, WhatsApp messages. But we are looking for folks. So please, the Google Doc is in the chat. If you're interested, please fill it out. If you have questions, reach out to Zlata or me or Melissa. We are more than happy to answer your questions. And Peter just got here, so I will tie up now. I was mostly waiting for him to get here. Hi, Peter. We'll get to you in just a second. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for all that you have done, for all the ways that the SE community has come together. When I say that this is the best of what SE can be and the SE community can be, I think this is going to continue to grow. As Melissa said, we know that this is not unique to Ukraine. Right? Humans are experiencing distress around the world, and the best way for us to support each other is to support each other. And so when one of my, I took it home. I had a Hoberman sphere on my desk, and I literally took it home yesterday. But as this expansion and contraction happens, right, we can hold each other when things happen around the world. If we are connected already, and we can turn and look to the people who we love and care about in other parts of the world who have a little bit more space to hold it, we will get through it. And that is what we've learned from this more than anything, that when we come together, we can do amazing things. And what I want to say is, thank you, Melissa. I know you're going to introduce Peter. And I do want to say, Peter, thank you for starting all of this to make it possible for us to be able to, in this moment, support each other so deeply and so well. So thank you all. Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca. And we're so excited that you'll be at the helm of SEI now, and that partnership between SEI and EASE is going to continue. This is just the beginning. So I just want to do two administrative things, and then we will hear from Peter. And then for those that can stay, Rosani is going to compose a song with us in 5 minutes as a closing exercise. But before Peter speaks to us, as Rebecca said, the application to be part of the committee is now in the chat box, and we will select that we'll have a committee to select the committee, 6 to 8 people. So please, if that interests you, we're looking for 6 to 8 really committed people who can help get a formal committee up off the ground. And as mentioned at the very beginning, that will just be a platform, as all EASE committees do. It will meet once a month. And we really would love then for others to take initiative to stand up cells or subcommittees in your local region to meet local needs. And this could be a platform for connecting you to EASE and SEI and the resources that are being gathered there. So please fill out the application if it interests you. And to follow more information, if being on the committee doesn't quite interest you, you can follow our website, which Zlata just put in the chat, and our Facebook group. It's actually the EASE Facebook page that we've put our stuff on, to see what's coming in the next few weeks as we get ourselves organized. And we will send an email to all participants that have been here today with follow-up information. And please write back and let us know how you would like to keep these conversations going and what we can do to support the dreams and visions that are in your heart for how the SE community can come together to support one another and to support the people in our community in times of need like this. And then the money is there if anybody would like to donate so that we can continue. We are using, the last thing I'll say, and then Peter will come, is that we decided to share the link that we've been using for the last year to raise money. It's the Mighty Cause site that many of you have seen, and we've been raising money for our work in Ukraine. So we wanted to share that link today with you. Any money that comes in will continue to go to Ukraine efforts. We've been focusing it on supporting translation and interpretation efforts. And there are some beautiful visions coming from our Ukrainian friends that are in the room today of how they would love to use even just the little bit of money that we have left. We have about $3,000 left in that account. We've only raised $10,000 all year. So if you want to go and give money today, it will go directly toward supporting the Ukrainians that are in the room today to help bring SE resources to them. So we encourage you to do that. And also, Zlata, maybe you can drop the one last link. We are recruiting SCPs who will provide one-to-one sessions or supervision for the SCPs in Turkey and in Syria. The SCPs in Turkey, they've already got 100 SCPs who are responding to the earthquake there, and they've asked the task force if we can recruit volunteers to provide sessions for their SCPs to help them stay strong and resilient for the amazing work that they're doing to support their community. So if you are available to do that, you will see the chat. You'll see in the chat the link for that. Isa, if you could spotlight our surprise guest speaker, Dr. Peter Levine. We are so honored that you are here with us today. We've been working so hard for the last year, and your presence is affirmation that maybe what we've been doing is something pretty special. So thank you. Please, the floor is yours.
You know, we have natural disasters that are occurring everywhere in the world at any time. Then we have violence of wars that are also occurring. And there are differences. You know, natural disasters it's not about man's inhumanity to man. It's about these things that happen. And I'm thinking about when we responded to the tsunami, that must have been at least 25 years ago in the Southeast Asia, and we were working in Thailand. And one of the things that we did, that the group did every day, was to meet out on the beach and to just share with each other their experience during the day, and also to do some movement. Daniel was one of the people. He was an acupuncturist and a qigong teacher, so he did qigong with the whole group every day at the end of the day, and also I think at the beginning of the day. And that was so important, because otherwise, you start carrying some of this trauma in your bodies and take that home with you. Now, we're also talking about not just natural disasters, but wars, man-made disasters, violence. I mean, we see little pockets of it here. I mean, it's really, to me, it's really absolutely unbelievable that there's nothing being done about guns here, but you see violence virtually every other day, group violence here. But then you have conflagrations like what we're seeing in Ukraine. And so in addition to, as I just said, in addition to, or in contrast to natural disasters, working with people from the war zone, where there's such violence, there's such, I was giving a talk, and somebody asked me about war crimes, and I said, yeah, but war itself is a crime, and it's a crime against humanity. And so again, I would, and here, when you're working in a war zone and working daily with people who are extremely traumatized by the war, I think it's even more important that you support each other, that you use your basic SE tools to settle yourself after the work. I know in Europe and EASE, a number of people are working in Ukraine, and I know at least one person that's living right now in Ukraine. And every time I see her, she's in a class, and I say, "Are you doing self-care?" I don't have time. You got to make time. Really, really have to make time to use the tools that you're using with those people, but also use them for yourselves, and use them in community. So I'm very buoyed by the fact that you are working both in natural disaster areas and also in war zones. So I hope you'll continue to do that. It's God's work. And take care of yourselves. Really take the time to take care of yourself. Otherwise, I don't even call it burnout, but your body will suffer. So please take care of yourselves. Continue in the work. I think there's you probably have it. Maggie Klein and I did a little booklet about helping parents and teachers and therapists know how to work with children and recognize trauma in children, because they don't show it in the same way that adults do. So I think that's widely available now. And so I guess that's it. I think that's really what I have to say. Thank you for that work, for the work you're doing. And to know that you can, there's always going to be suffering, but there doesn't necessarily have to be suffering of suffering. That's not the way I want to say it. There's unnecessary suffering and there's necessary suffering. Necessary suffering, again, is about the earthquakes and hurricanes and all of that kind of stuff. And the unnecessary suffering is the suffering that we see in when people are inhumane to each other. And so I hope you don't carry that burden on your shoulders. So again, really to find connection with each other, solace with each other, first aid with each other. So thank you all. And I wish you that you appreciate yourselves for helping where the help is so dearly needed, so dearly called for. So, yeah, okay.
Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you for making time to stop in today.
Sure.
And we appreciate it. And yes, this work has been so much about taking care of each other. So thank you for that reminder. It's so important.
Yep.
And if you're all able to stay, as Melissa said, Rosani is going to come back and help create a song with everybody. I'm really excited about this. I have no idea how this is going to happen, but I'm pretty excited to see and experience this. Rosani, welcome, and wow us with your magic, please.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm very excited too. What a kind of music we are going to create together. I invite you to make some vibration sounds with me, like one breath, one tone. And we have our micros off. I let my micro on, and you vibrate, you tone, and feel the vibration in your body, in your face, in your mouth, in your lips. Maybe in your heart. And maybe your body wants another tone. Or and so we create an ocean of sound. And we take some breath with the tone. And feel the vibration in our bodies. And we let the sound embrace us and our bodies. And then I invite you to write in our chat one word which resumes what are you feeling now at the present moment. Peace in my body. Love connects us with gratitude, with connection, a resonance widen our hearts. Feeling the space, feeling wholeness, relaxed, all together, feeling gratitude, joy of life, joy of life, and openness. Wide, 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 togetherness, and all together. I hear your sound, your I hear your sound, our it vibrates here in my heart, 'cause we are together. Kind hearts and love, emptiness at the center. Oh yeah, we feel strength. We touch the earth. With our feet we feel the earth. We feel the earth, the connection with the earth, with the sky and everybody, everybody. Together, here and now. Together, here and now. Together, here and now. Here and now. Here and now. Maybe touch and make body connection.
Thank you, Rossani, so much. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And I felt the connection of all our hearts. Maybe Rebecca and Isa, because we are coming to the end. And just find Isa, come here. And we are really, oh, hi. So,
Obrigada.
thank you so much, Rossani, for your amazing finalizing all our hours we were together. Thank you all you came to us. The recording will be on our YouTube channel. And please join us to our committee, join us on our webpage, join us on our YouTube channel. Join us on our Resilience Connection. This is the most important thing, because every Tuesday you will find our amazing people there, SCPs with the same feeling. So please come and join us. And for now, I wish you good night, good afternoon, good morning for some maybe. And we are staying together. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for connecting with me, for being here today, to all the speakers, the participants, the translators. Such a special group to be part of, and our work, amazing work, will continue on. Thank you.